So we're at HPE Discover down in Las Vegas, and every year when we come here we have to see Martina because I know you work at HPE Labs, but you're also, I consider you the movie expert, because every time we're here,
do our best.
We're checking out what you guys are doing with some of the most popular movies. Last year it was Star Trek,
yep.
And this year it's Ghost in the Shell.
That's right.
With Scarlett Johansson. What did you guys do for this movie? I know with the Star Trek movie you helped kind of actually come up with the technology here, but I guess in this case you helped visualize it?
That's right. I mean, Ghost in the Shell is such an exciting movie because it really talks about this future where technology has kind of become pervasive in people's lives, even more so than it is today. And a lot of the people in the film have a lot of cyber enhancements, and so they are able to get much more connected with the machines. They can communicate kind of very naturally through these cyber enhancements. And we looked at that kind of world with the filmmakers, and we thought, well, what does that really mean for security and privacy in that kind of a world? What happens when you're actually so connected up to technology, and how does that change sort of your own experience? And those were some of the things that the Hewlett-Packard Labs researchers looked at with the filmmakers when they were actually kind of putting the movie together. So it was a really cool experience.
Well, it's a fascinating movie based on the Japanese comics.
That's right.
From years gone by. But I was just fascinated how these cyber enhancements really infiltrated all of society, I guess, in that movie. Scarlett Johansson basically plays, I guess, half human, half cyborg. But you know, some of the cool things, the guy with the bionic eyes, the geisha, was it a geisha with a crazy
That's
head
right.
that comes all apart? Like,
well, so those things were actually things that the filmmakers' vision really came to life with those kinds of things. And what we really helped them do, there's some really interesting scenes in the film. You can see in that scene where the geishas actually appear, you can see that the Major, which is Scarlett Johansson's character, is trying to visualize the building and her way that she's actually going to get in there to try to kind of stop this crime from happening, because you can sort of see that it's happening. And that entire visualization sequence is something that the filmmakers talked about with the Hewlett-Packard Labs researchers to really understand how that could look credible in that future world, so that they could really sort of, when you're watching the film, you would really feel like it's believable and you just become a part of the story that you're watching.
That scene was actually quite amazing, how it was all visualized with the building. I mean, I could barely walk into a 7-Eleven without, you know, stumbling into something. So I loved how they put that all together on the film. Is this something that you guys are really getting into, like the whole film industry, to help kind of tell the story of the machine?
You know, I think it's interesting because we, obviously our #1 job is to be researchers and to work on the next generation of technologies for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. But I think what's interesting here is that this is kind of over the years, we've had this opportunity to partner with filmmakers because I think they like our point of view on kind of where technology is headed. And I think that they find that working with us, they get that extra insight into, you know, what is something really going to look like in the future? How are we going to deal with data? How is that going to change our lives? And because that's something that we're working on in the real world, it tends to have that great kind of application into a little bit more of the fantasy world as well.
Martina from HPE Labs, talking about the machine and visualizing the future.